Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
My, oh my, do we have a fun one today. My guest is one of the best players to come out of the Minot State men's basketball program. It is Tyler Rudolph. Rudy, after playing for the Beavers, set a few records and found his way overseas to play in Spain and Australia. Fantastic basketball player. And over this last weekend here in the great and powerful Crosby, North Dakota, we had the DC Classic 12-team amateur tournament. Tyler came up, won MVP of the tournament, and also the Minot Underachievers. Shout out the Underachievers. They won the DC Classic championship as well. But Tyler, a fantastic basketball player. And I liked throughout the interview how his demeanor, and also when he talks about the game and how it's transitioned to something unique. And a lot of people talk about what's going on with the NBA. Well, Tyler and I got into that, and I really liked his answer on a few of those different things. But also, he's just a really cool guy. And he's a fantastic basketball IQ cat guy that just absolutely knows the game well. And I feel you're really, really, really going to enjoy this interview. We filmed it during the DC Classic, caught some extra time there. So appreciate Tyler and his time. And I also appreciate the following, our sponsors that made today possible. It's PSP Network. Wake up, everybody. It's game day. Baseball and softball season are here, and so is PSP Network. Find them on their YouTube page at PSP Network. Again, Nick Holberg and his team do a great job, and find them online also at psp.network. They've got a plethora of baseball and softball games coming at you, so make sure to check out PSP Network. And how about Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, a podcast? They're your premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus cattle showcase dominance, durability, and docility, and they're built to thrive on the northern plains. Check them out. That's Glosso, Glasoe, Angus.com. Hey, folks, also make sure you check out Plains Window Cleaning, interior and exterior window cleaning on residential and commercial buildings throughout North Dakota. Call Jacob today at 701-609-0405. Again, that's Jacob Broughton at Plains Window Cleaning. And how about the best place to eat in Williston, North Dakota? That's River's Edge Bar and Grill. They're known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come on down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. Appreciate all our sponsors, and also appreciate Tyler Rudolph. I really enjoyed this interview. Very, very, very good basketball player, but also a better human. So here we go with the amazing and wise Tyler Rudolph. Dude, welcome to the DC Classic.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it's good to finally be able to make it out here.
How was it playing overseas? I mean, that's a big question for me. I'm a basketball guy, but was the game a lot different, or the lifestyle? I mean, tell us about overseas.
A little bit of everything's kind of different. I mean, it's a lot. I played in Spain for a year.
Spain?
Yeah, and then I played in Australia for 2 years, so I noticed some differences just in that. You're over in Spain, and it's a lot team oriented. Like you hear from guys over in Europe, it's a lot team basketball, moving the ball, like not so much individualized, where I feel like over here you get more individualized. It's about scoring performances and those sort of things. And then in Australia, I feel like more had an American kind of basketball style, where it's more not as much, well, it's still team oriented, but definitely more scoring performances and things along those lines. And just living in a different country is different. Like there's
I can't even
so
imagine.
Many little things that are just different. Like living in Australia, they drive on the other side of the road. So I'm in a car trying to figure that out. Like I'm like, what is going on? And then, it's cool though. Like Australia was beautiful. Spain was beautiful. I loved it. And I think it's just a cool experience. And anyone that has a chance to do something like that, I think they should take it. And I just think it is something that's awesome. And I really enjoyed my time.
Australia is one of those places I've always wanted to go. I mean, I've heard it's just a beautiful spot, but like the insect side of things, like crazy animals, critters, like you always see those videos like snakes in toilets or whatever you want to say. Do you ever have any run-ins over there?
No, which is actually crazy, because when I first knew I was going to go out to Australia, I remember when I first got out there, I'm looking around every corner for everything. I'm like, I think someone's going to jump out at me. I'm like, what's going on? And then once you're over there, I was like, oh, it's actually not that crazy. I'm sure there's certain parts where it's worse than others, but where I was at, there wasn't any crazy insects or crazy big spiders or anything like that. I did see kangaroos quite a bit, which is cool, but no, overall it was awesome.
Every Australian I've met, like one time I was in Vegas and ended up partying with a couple guys from Australia, all time great night.
Yep.
It seems like every Australian I meet are very cool. Same kind of thing though when you're living in Australia.
Oh, 100%. They're some of the best people I've ever met. And then for bringing me in all the way from the States, they just made me feel at home. And it was almost like it was another home for me being there. Like they're just so nice, so community oriented. They love supporting basketball or whatever sport is going on at the time. They're so supportive and they're super friendly and just made it a real easy transition for me.
How about the atmosphere? Like game style atmosphere where the fans pretty rowdy? Because you see a lot of videos on X nowadays of like, this is what the NBA should be like. And it's like guys with fire in the crowd and just flags raising. Like what was the atmosphere like?
It was good. It's definitely not to that extent. Like you see some of those videos and I've seen them too. But no, the crowd and community got really engaged and were really supportive. And they definitely just love their sports that are in their city. And it was just really cool to see just how they bring in different players, and it doesn't matter who's on the team, they're still going to come out and support. And I just think that's really cool and just made it really fun to go out there and want to play for those guys.
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, I love the Winnipeg Jets hat, by the way.
Yes.
You're a hockey guy too?
So actually, I'm living in Canada right now.
Where?
I'm living in Brandon, Manitoba.
Dude, I know Brandon well.
Yeah.
So my parents raised horses in Winnipeg.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Assiniboia Downs,
Wow.
man. We got to meet up this
Yes,
summer.
we have to. My girlfriend's from Canada, so I moved up there with her when I got back from Australia. So
nice. Heck yeah. How you liking Canada?
It's good. It's a lot colder. The snow stays around a lot longer than I thought it would, but no, other than that, it's been awesome. And I'm getting into hockey now, so trying to understand that. Yeah.
Well, the Jets are a great franchise. You're gonna love it.
They're
gonna love
killing it this year.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's good to see. Okay, so I told you I had a Darren Mattern story before we hopped on.
Yes.
So I did this thing before the WDA tournament called Champion Week, and I overdid it. Like I did like 5 straight days of just traveling and podcasting and then broadcasting games for PSP, and I like overdid it. And I was supposed to go to Dickinson, and I hadn't done Mattern yet. And Mattern, shout out Darren Mattern, but he's a terrible texter.
Does not surprise me.
So I text him 2 days later. Yeah, Dallas, let's do that. Yeah, let's do it. You know how he talks. Let's do it. So 2 days later, so I'm thinking these 2 days, like, dude, this guy hates me. I don't know what I said about him or something. Then he texts me, let's do it. So we agreed to meet after practice on like a Wednesday night, I think. I was going to Dickinson the next day. Tired. I'm like, what am I doing? This podcast, I hope this works out. Like, I hope I get a few views. Turns out it was like the greatest thing I could have done for my career. But I meet Mattern. Mattern's like, I'll meet you in the cafeteria. So I'm sitting there while the cheerleaders are doing practice, waiting for, and it was a long practice. Like they're getting ready for the WDA.
Yep.
I'm just I'm very hesitant about Mattern. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this guy. Like he might suck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's kind of giving me the cold shoulder a little bit. He walks out. I'm not kidding you. My favorite podcast I've ever done.
Really?
Like the nicest dude. Like, hey folks, are you craving authentic, mouth-watering smoked meats? Well, let me tell you where to go. It's Bronson's Smokehouse in Beulah, North Dakota. They've been serving up legendary country-style sausage, jerky, and Slim Jims for over 40 years. Order online today at bronsonsmokehouse.com. That's Bronson's, BRONSONS, smokehouse.com, and taste the tradition. Dallas, how you doing? And then I had a sweatshirt for him. He's like, oh my God, this is great. Swim lessons. And then we talked. And dude, I had never met him before.
Yep.
And he was nice, easy conversation, and the basketball IQ was amazing. Yep. Now, you had a chance to play with for Coach Mattern.
Yes.
Tell us about your time.
It's exactly like you said.
Yeah.
Like he's going to get on you. He's going to be hard. Practices are going to be hard. But also the benefit of that is I just think he gets you ready for the next level. I thought in my personal experience, from what I went through at Century, we were having, like you said, those long practices. Like he's really going to put you through it and test you. But then when I got to college, I felt like I was maybe one step ahead of some of these other freshmen that come in and maybe didn't have a coach that was pushing them in that sort of way. So I think that's the great thing about him. Like he's going to get on you in games at practice, but then off the court, he's going to bring you in and tell you how much he appreciates you or how good you're doing. So he's got both sides of it. And I think he does a great job at knowing how much to push you and then also knowing when he needs to maybe pull you aside and have a conversation with you. So I think he's been great, and he's definitely benefited my career. So
he kept saying in the podcast we did, if you haven't listened to, you gotta listen to, you start laughing. But he kept saying he's kind of a late bloomer. Like he kept saying late bloomer.
Yes.
And I was trying to not crack up because we were talking about the Nisley kid.
Oh, yep.
Like Garrett, fantastic player.
Yep.
But he's got like a few different things to work on, and he's like just a few little tweaks from being like a GOAT.
Yes.
And this is before they won the WDA tournament.
Yeah.
And I made a mistake when I was talking to him, like, man, that WDA is tight. And I just saw like smoke come out of his ears. He's like, Dallas, it's always tight.
Yeah.
And he's right. But then they go and they win the WDA tournament, and then they win state.
Yes.
And I mean, we all like, did you pay much attention to the team this year at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so they had a fantastic guard in Drew Kemple.
Yes.
The Gibson Kinnebrew kid is a sophomore stud. Like, dude.
Yep.
And then Nisley and a few other nice pieces. But I just loved how, like, he just orchestrated this run where they played Mason Claybo in the championship, and Claybo's like the all-time scoring leader.
Yep.
And the whole time I'm talking to the PSP crew, I'm like, what are they going to play? They can't play a man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Mattern just played a man. He switched on a couple of the screens, but it was just in your face, man. And it wore down, and that's what won a state championship.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's part of what Mattern likes to do. Like, he's a very defensive-minded coach, and I think he's going to stick with what got him there. And it clearly worked for the whole season. They won state, but I think once you get into a championship game, you can't go switch a bunch of things. You got to do what got you to that championship. And I think he did that exactly. And he said, we're going to win or lose, but we're going to do it the way we got here. And I think that's what you got to do.
Hey folks, hope you are enjoying this episode. But support for Swim Lessons, the podcast, comes from Brandon Weber, your Edward Jones financial advisor at 1600 2nd Avenue Southeast, Minot, North Dakota. For more information, visit edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC. And then he was telling me too, he's like, I'd always teach my players to be happy for somebody else. Yep. You know, if Mason Claybo breaks the record, I want all my kids to reach out to him and be like, hey, congratulations. Yep. And that was so big because in today's society, you know, there's that jealous factor. I fall victim to it. I'm sure you have.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's like, why is this guy getting an opportunity? Why am I not getting an opportunity?
100%.
And Mattern's like, yours will come. Just be happy for them.
Yep. And I think that's so important. You got to celebrate other success.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if you start having success, those people aren't going to want to support you. So it goes both ways. Like, you got to be able to acknowledge when something great happens. And like you said, that is something amazing that happened. And you guys should reach out to them and congratulate them. But that doesn't mean when you get on the court, it's still going to be competitive.
Yeah,
right?
Don't be his buddy.
And it can work both ways. So
1,000%.
100%.
Now on to my favorite part of your career, Minot State.
Yes.
How did you decide to become a Beaver, and what other offers were on the table you can share?
So there was a little interest, I remember, from Northern State coming out, and I had some interest in there. And then,
what year is this, by the way?
This would have been, so I graduated high school 2014.
2014.
Yes,
okay.
So maybe the summer before that, like the last summer of AAU basketball. Had some interest from Northern, but then they had a kid commit right before I was going to go on my visit, so they didn't have a scholarship anymore. So I remember Merkin had reached out.
Merkin was, that's my guy.
Yep, Merkin reached out. I remember I took my visit up there, and I loved it. Like, I had a little maybe other interest from like Jamestown and Dickinson and such, but I kind of knew Minot was where I wanted to go, and honestly, I just loved it ever since I was up there.
What was the biggest like transition? Because I know a little bit about your career, but I was living in Arizona at the time, so I don't know a lot. Your guy Logan Kress was giving me some good information.
Yeah,
Shout out
my
Logan
guy.
Kress.
Shout
He's
out
the man.
Logan.
He's going to buy a Nikola Jokic jersey tonight.
I know, he's so pumped for it.
He's got to get it. But like, because let's be honest, you're one of the greatest players to ever play at Minot State. There's no way to get around it. But what was the transition period like for you from high school to college?
Well, I think, like I kind of touched on earlier, I think it was big having Mattern as a coach, just to teach you. It didn't mean I had skills I needed to work on, but he taught that like hard work, you need to be in the gym, you need to be in the weight room, those sort of things. So I think that carried over. But then when I got to college, Merkin has that same mindset. Like, you need to put in time after practice. You can't just show up every day and expect to get better. You got to put in that extra time. And I think that was huge for me, just hearing that, but also having some of the seniors and older guys on our roster were able to just bring me in and also let me work out with them and show me what they have been doing and how they got to be successful. And I think that just stuck with me. I'm like, oh, this is the way you have to do it to be great, is you have to go in the gym when no one else is in there. You have to go lift extra, or you have to do extra running and stuff like that. And I think that was just so important for me to see it from people that have already been there before me, to be like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. And that's just what I thought the blueprint was, and I kind of just went with it.
Man, that's how is American like on the sidelines?
Yeah.
Is he pretty intense? I've been to a few games, and the guy gets into it.
Yes.
But I've kind of become friends with him off the court. Nicest dude of all time.
Yeah.
But like during the game, whoa, look out.
Yes. No, 100%. He's definitely passionate about the game, and he's locked in so much, and he just wants the most out of you. And I think once you kind of realize that, like, yes, he's yelling, and yes, he has all those moments, but it's only because he knows that you have the ability to do the right thing or can do the right thing. And I think once you start to understand that, or once you get in his program for a little bit, you start to realize those things and understand that when he's yelling at you, he definitely has seen something in you. And I think that's so important. But it's the same thing. Then off the court, he'll bring you in and kind of have those one-on-one discussions where you can understand a little more and kind of get why he's maybe yelling at you or thinking he's being tough on you. And I just think that's so important. And he's such a knowledgeable guy in the sport of basketball that I think it was just so great to have him for all 4 years when I was there.
What was your senior year like?
It was awesome. I mean, we had a good team. Like, we started off really well, and then I just remember we had this rough stretch towards the end of the year where we lost 4 or 5 games in a row, I think it was.
No.
Yeah, right before coming up on the Northern Sun tournament. And then I just remember meeting as a team, and we got together, just kind of players only, and just hashed out a bunch of things and kind of won our last few games, and then won our opening round at home of the playoffs. And I think that was just huge for us. Like, it was an awesome year. I loved the group of guys I played with, and I just think it was something special. And obviously seeing what they did this year, I just
how about that
think
run,
it is
bro?
so cool just seeing the buildup of what it's been from before I got there, kind of knowing a little bit about it, to what I went through all 4 years, and then just to see it go on to a whole nother level and watch them have just an amazing year this year.
Yeah, one of their best players this year, I don't know how the right word to say this, but he practices like Ramadan. So he didn't eat all day.
Really?
Before their big game.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
So he didn't eat, and he's their best player. Owen Patterson, their play-by-play guy, was telling me about this. And he's like, yeah, man, he didn't eat. And then he goes out and balls out. And
Really?
then had a big meal afterwards. But yeah, Ramadan, so he can't eat.
Really?
And yeah, so I mean, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
crazy.
a credit to him. That's awesome. But
so
that's crazy.
When you finish up at Minot State, do you kind of think in the back of your mind, hey, I'm pretty good. I've got a nice talent going here. What can I do next stepwise? Or did you have a degree where you're like, maybe I'll just get a job? What was going on?
Yeah, so I went to school for accounting, but I kind of knew going into my senior year, the start of my senior year, that maybe this is a potential thing I could do. I didn't have it set in stone, like, yes, I'm going to go play pro somewhere. I was like, I'm going to keep it as an option. Let's see how senior year goes. And then once it kept going on, I was like, yep, this is definitely what I want to do. And I kind of, once our season ended, I was still training and trying to get myself ready. And I just think I knew then that it was a realistic option because I had some people reach out with interests or different camps to go to and those sort of things. And at that point, I didn't really care where I went. I just kind of wanted to do it and get my foot in the door. And also, I wanted to just have that experience because I know if I didn't do it, I was going to regret it going forward, that I didn't at least take a chance. And I was like, do it for a year. If you don't like it, you can always go back and do something in accounting, but just at least give yourself the chance, because who knows, maybe you love it and want to keep doing it for a while.
How many years did you play professionally overseas?
So I played 3 total. I did my first year right out of college in Spain. And then after that, I was going to go back to the same team I played for, but I had an injury, so it kind of set me back.
What happened?
I had this weird, it's called a sports hernia.
Oh.
So, and I had to get these surgeries, but it took a long time to diagnose because it's not super common about what was going on.
Just
so
pain in your lower abdomen?
Yeah, it was lower abdomen and groin area. I was just having some issues that I had no idea what was going on. So I missed out on that season, and then it kind of got into the COVID years. So I was like, do I want to go be in Europe? And then with everything that happened, I was like, okay, that's fine. And I decided to get into basketball training at Sanford in Fargo.
Nice.
So I was doing basketball training there. I was loving it. And then one of my college teammates, Max Cody, he's from Australia, reached out to me randomly one day. He's like, would you ever want to come back and play? I think I can get you a spot in Australia.
Whoa.
And I was like, thought about it. And I was like, I've always heard great things about Australia from everyone that I've known that's played there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
So I went back and played 2 seasons there, and it was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I just loved it. Yeah, it turned out to be great. And I was like, I'm just so glad I jumped back in and did it and got to see another part of the world that I'd probably never see if I didn't go do that. So, yeah.
Tell us about one of the craziest experiences you had in Australia.
Honestly, I mean, I don't have too many crazy stories, but it's just, to me, it's just wild. Like I like to go outside and go for walks and all these things, and just randomly.
I'm a big walk guy too, dude.
I'm just walking, and you just see kangaroos hopping in front of your path. Like I just think that's crazy. Like coming from here, like you don't see that sort of stuff or have any like exotic animals or animals that we think are exotic, I guess. But then you're just walking in a field and there's just kangaroos just jumping right by you, like deer. It's crazy. Like they're just. One time I was driving home after practice and there's one just sitting in the middle of the road, just sitting there, and they're huge. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, it's almost like, it's stuff you see on TV. Like sometimes you don't even believe it. You're like, there's just a kangaroo sitting in our like front yard. Like, that sort of stuff is crazy. Other than that, there's not a lot of crazy experiences, but I just loved, we were like an hour away from the beach. So I would just drive like after practices or during the week and just hang out there, and I was like, this is perfect. Like it's just so chill. Weather stays good pretty much year round. It was awesome.
You know, you said something when you were talking about how the culture is overseas and how here it's more like kind of individualized.
Yep.
Do you think, because everybody knows this, the NBA ratings are way down.
Yes.
And Charles Barkley was talking about, well, it's because the NFL is going on and all this stuff. So Charles Barkley wants them to start like post Christmas to kind of get out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's tough to do. But in your thought, and you know the game well, is that maybe a part of the NBA's problem? Is kind of this individual style rather than we're seeing a lot of Europe players come over to the NBA and dominate.
Yeah.
You know, or I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. It's a tough call because the NBA is just so good.
Yeah.
Those players are so talented. Like, I don't think there's any way to make it less individualized because the guys are just so good.
Yeah.
We're going to have monster performances from these guys. I think the key thing in Europe is like their community is just solely bought into that, like the club that they're playing for. Okay. There's probably not a lot of other things that they're out there supporting. But then when you think the NBA, like you said, there's the NFL, there's MLB, there's hockey, there's all these things. These big markets have so many sports teams that you want to support that it's just hard to keep the viewership. And I get it, but it's also, I don't think there's much that can change from the NBA right now because I just think the guys are so talented that people are starting to almost see it on repeat where they're getting kind of used to these big performances where I'm like, if you're a real like basketball junkie, you're like, these guys are so good and it's so fun to watch. I just think it's hard for a casual fan. They tune in and I feel like they hear the guys talking on TV and they think, oh, they just shoot threes. That's all that's happening. And yes, I think that's a big part of the game today. But if you really sit down and watch, the guys are just so uber talented. I just don't know exactly what the thing would be to, I don't know, maybe get viewership back. But like you touched on the European guys coming over, I think why they're having a lot of success is they're just bringing something different that's not in the NBA right now.
Right.
Like they're playing, like you watch Luka or Jokic, they're just like slowing things down. And you're used to just guys being so athletic and dunking it and shooting from however far away. Whereas you bring these guys in, they're slowing it down. They're very pass first and still can score the basketball. And I think that's just something that the NBA needed because it's switching it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're seeing something different that you haven't seen in how many years. And I think that's huge. And I think that's only going to continue because I think the leagues around the world are starting to catch up and they're also starting to realize that a lot of these guys, whether it's Europe, Australia, all over, can play in the NBA and obviously have success. And I think that's huge because I think it's just going to make NBA basketball even more global than it already is.
Yeah, I mean, look at Luka.
Yeah,
fantastic. And Joker, I mean, at the 61 the other night,
it's
and
crazy.
I saw that no-look pass he had. That how do you even find that window? I mean,
it's unreal.
And he does that night in and night out.
I know, and that's the crazy thing. These guys are so consistent.
Yeah,
and they do it in just a cool way. Like, they're not going up and dunking everything. No, it's like they're getting their teammates involved. Like Joker's just so fun to watch because he gets the ball and he controls everything on the court. And he could go out and if he wanted to, he could score 40 points a game and not worry about anything else if he really wanted to. But no, he's worried about getting everyone else involved. And then sometimes his last option is like, okay, I'll go get a bucket this time. And it's just so cool to see that sort of stuff because I feel like we got used to just guys being freak athletes or guys being able just to shoot the ball so good. I'm not saying those guys can't do those sort of things, but it's just a different style of play that I think makes it so interesting to see it work in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree. And I like Joker because he's a horse guy.
Yes.
I'm a horse guy. Like,
Yeah.
I love when he talks
there you
about
go.
racing
Yeah.
horses. When he was talking about the NBA parade, he's like, when is parade? And they're like, next Thursday. He's like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I'm like, this
That's
guy's
so
the best.
cool. I love that.
He's the man. Who's your NBA team?
I'm actually Orlando Magic.
Ooh.
I was a big Dwight Howard fan when I was
Just
a
went
kid.
in the Hall of Fame
I
yesterday.
just saw that, and that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, when I was young, my two guys I liked to watch were Kevin Love and Dwight Howard. So I was just all in on Dwight Howard when he was on the Magic. So that was my squad. I'm not as diehard Magic fan. I feel like NFL is where I get my team.
Okay, who's your squad?
Minnesota.
The Vikes.
The Vikes. Big Vikes fan.
Boy, I fell for an April Fool's joke so bad. It was an NDSU thing on Twitter. Was like, Carson Wentz signs to be the quarterback coach at NDSU. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, he retired and now he's going to coach for the Bison quarterback because the Bison's Randy Hedberg just was hired.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, what a great fit. I'm like, this is awesome. I have Wentz's phone number and I was minutes because we did a podcast together.
Yeah.
I was like seconds away from just texting like, dude, congrats. Like, this is awesome.
that
he
would've
would have
been
been like, Dallas,
crazy.
you dumbass. Like, that's an April Fool's joke.
Oh, that would have been so good.
I think the perfect fit for C-Dubs would be Vikings.
Yeah. And I've
Why not?
said this for a while. Like, at this point, why not bring him in?
Yeah, why not?
Like, I've always said that. It's like, you bring him in, like, I don't think it's definitely not gonna hurt.
No.
You bring him in, you got JJ McCarthy, but it's
Yeah.
just a guy you can have in the locker room, and he's been there, done that with his career. Like, why not, like, have that presence? And also, JJ's had some health concerns already.
Yeah.
Why not bring in a guy like that you know is going to go in and be able to perform with those guys? So I've said that for a few years. I'm like, why not just bring him in? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts, and I think it would be awesome as a Century alum as well. I think let's just bring Carson in and do it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The Vikings are like really close to being good. Like really close.
Yes.
The last year that was a tough draw in the playoffs, and the NFC North. Who would have seen that being so talented?
100%. Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be like that again this year.
I agree.
Although the Bears have made some nice moves.
They have. Yep.
They've really revamped that offensive line.
Yes.
Joe
I agree.
Tooney, my favorite Chief. I'm a Chiefs guy.
Oh, there we go.
I was a Chiefs fan before they were cool though. Like now everybody hates
that's
them.
fair.
Yeah, like
I
Priest
respect
Holmes
it then.
days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so we sent,
like
we
that.
traded Joe Tooney, our best offensive lineman ever, to the Bears.
Yes.
But he was getting old. So Chicago, look out.
I know it's going to be an interesting year, and I mean, I don't like to get my hopes up too much just because I know after having a season like that, there's probably going to be a little drawback and there's going to be a little things. But I love the moves they've did in free agency. They shored up that O-line and D-line a little bit.
Spent a lot of money.
They did spend a lot of money. So I'm hoping we have some payouts. And I believe J.J. McCarthy's going to have a good season and be good. But you just never know in this league. It's a tough league to be in. But I'm like, we have all the weapons for him. We shored up the O-line. We got a couple good running backs. Like, he doesn't have to do anything overly crazy to have a successful year. But, yeah, like you said, the NFC North's just a tough division.
Who saw that coming? It used to be the worst.
No, the Lions aren't going anywhere.
Right.
And now with the Bears making moves, that's four teams
Packers are always going to be
Packers
decent.
are always solid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, those division games are no slouch anymore. So it's like, I don't know who's going to come out of there. And
Might be the toughest division in football, honestly.
I know. It's close to it. And it's just, we'll see. I'm holding out hope, but
I think Kevin O'Connell is the greatest coach in the NFL.
I know. I thought
Him
that
and
was
Andy Reid are
a
heading
perfect hire for the Vikings. And I just love the way he runs the organization, how much he cares about the guys. And I'm like, I just think it makes it so special that everyone just loves playing for him. Like, I think you got to keep that guy around as long as you can.
You never hear a bad word about him.
No.
Not a bad word.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
One question I love asking guys that have been around the game of basketball. Was there a point in your life where you go, okay, I love this game? Yeah. Like what led up to you just your love for the game and it progressing you to come to Crosby, North Dakota, and you were in Spain, Australia, Minot, Bismarck. Like what was the love of the game like for you?
I think it just slowly developed throughout my life. Like I started playing young and, you play travel ball and you play all that. And I think it honestly kind of stems from that. You get this kind of team aspect. You get to hang out with all your best friends and you're playing basketball. And I think growing up in North Dakota, obviously in the winters, I wasn't like a hockey guy or any sort of that thing. So the winter sport was basketball all the time. So you do that. But then once it got to summertime, I loved just being in the front yard in the driveway with my brother, and we just have the hoop out there and we just play as much as we can. So I think that's where it stems from. And then as I got like into high school and kind of developing into college, you kind of have to know whether you love the game or not. High school, you don't have to love it. You can play all of high school and maybe it's not your favorite thing and there's some other things to do. But once you really get to college, you find out whether you love the game or not, because it's pretty much your whole life in college sports. Like you get there, you're training in the preseason, then you have your season, and then you're training in the off season in the spring. So it really tests you and you're like, wow, do I really love this game? And I just knew right away. I was like, well, I love every part about this. Like, I don't care whether we're in the preseason or it's postseason or it's the summer, whatever it is. I just want to be in the gym. And I found that just awesome, whether it was playing open gyms or one of my favorite things is just being by myself in the gym. You just got the whole gym to yourself, just getting shots up. I think that's some of the coolest things. And it's just, I don't know, one of my favorite things to do. So
it's an escape.
It's
an escape from the real world.
It is.
Like I found that in broadcasting.
Yeah.
Like it's just calling the game, even doing color. It's just you and talking about your favorite thing, which for me is basketball.
Yeah.
And listen, man, I know we got the quarterfinals coming up here. You're about to play.
Yeah.
But a question I ask everybody that comes on the show: Swim Lessons is a podcast about overcoming tough times.
Yep.
Leave us with something that you applied to your life when you were your back was against the wall and you're trying to get through a tough time.
Yeah, I think one thing about that for me personally is just relying on what got you to that position. Like I'll do it from a basketball perspective. When I think I've ever fell on tough times or I realize that, oh, maybe I'm not good enough or I'm not going to make it, I just think about all the work I put in to get there and fall back on that sort of stuff and be like, no, well, I put in all this work and I know that I'm good enough to get somewhere. But also I think a big thing for us is just support and having people around you that I know I can go to in any tough decision. Like my family's been great. They're just always someone there that they're going to tell me if I need to improve or those sort of things, but they're always there to pick me up and be like, no, Tyler, you can do it. You're good enough and all that stuff. And I think those are two huge things, just the amount of work you put in. So then when you do have a tough time, you don't have to fall all the way back. You can just realize like, oh, I've done so much to get here. This is only a minor setback. And then just having those people around you that are always going to pick you up and always be there during tough times.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Give us a quick plug where people can follow you along. I know you got an Instagram. You got quite a following there.
Yes. Tyler Rudolph 2, I think it is on Instagram. And that's pretty much all I use. I have an X, but I don't really do much on there. I think it's at Tyler Rudolph 22 on there. And yeah.
Well, listen, man, hopefully when this comes out, you're champs. It's going to be tough.
Hey,
it's good stuff
it's
here.
It's a tough division. I'm excited to play, though.
Man,
it's been good.
From the bottom of my heart, dude, thanks for coming up.
Hey, thanks
guys
for
like
having me.
you that play professionally to come up to the Classic to play, that's what makes it great. So greatly appreciate it.
Well, no,
shout out to our guy, Luke Sorum, the GM of the team.
Shout out to Luke Sorum. You have to give him a shout out.
Put together a nice roster here.
No, and I know I've been asked to come up here a few times, but I'm glad I finally was able to make it happen, and I've loved it so far.
How about Jackson Gunville this morning?
Oh, my God.
8 a.m., 10 threes.
I was trying to tell guys on our team, I was like, if he gets hot, like he's the best shooter I've seen. And then what does he do? Go out there and hit 10 threes, and it's just from every spot on the court. Like
he just pulled up at like the volleyball line at one point.
It's crazy. And I was just, at that point, you just got to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Just let him do his thing, get him the ball, and yeah, it was amazing. And I'm just glad I'm on his team.
Yeah, dude,
that's how I feel.
Nice kid too.
Oh, super nice.
Nice kid.
Super nice, down-to-earth kid, and just it's just great to have a guy like that on the team too.
Well, you're not too shabby yourself, my friend.
Hey,
so
I appreciate it.
Appreciate the time. Good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for coming to Crosby.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right, that's a wrap.